Former Trump advisor says Biden admin has no end goal for Ukraine war. Uh, that possibly may be true, but I know that one of their main goals was to launder money through Ukraine. That's what I think this is really about. They're using it as a money laundering scheme, uh, Biden and the Democrat Party. But before we get started, go ahead, hit that like button, share this out so we get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Now, when you hit that alarm bell, you can change it from personal to all. That way, you get all notifications for when I'm putting out stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon where I talk about things I can't talk about here. And there's also a link to my Instagram where I put out even more news. All right, let's talk about this news. Former Donald Trump advisor Victoria Coates said the Biden administration doesn't have an end goal for its involvement in the Ukraine war. Now, maybe they want this to be another forever ending war. It'll keep going. So maybe that's the reason why there is no end goal. But like I said in the opening, I believe this is a whole money laundering scheme. They're funneling money through Ukraine and getting kickbacks. That's what the whole FTX thing was about. They were using FTX for that. Now that FTX is falling, I don't know what they're gonna do now. But quote, I think it's a lot of confusion within the administration, Victoria Coates said on Friday's edition of Just the News, No Noise TV show. Quote, you'll hear the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, who's a horrible, horrible person. I can't stand him, but I'm sorry. General Milley is who he's talking about. Goes on to say that he wants to negotiate. Then we hear from National Security Council that we don't want to negotiate. So there's friction within the administration. Unfortunately, I think that means we don't have strong direction from the top. And I would agree. Biden really don't even know where he is half the time. And Coates speculated that conflicting agendas within the administration were undermining Washington's response to the conflict. Quote, they're all arguing about what kind of weapon systems they may or may not give the Ukrainians, Coates said. Quote, they're arguing about whether or not they should negotiate. It's very confusing. And Coates said that his inevitability will lead to scrutiny from the next Congress. Quote, this is why you have a lot of concern out of the new Congress for these huge supplemental requests that are coming in, Coates explained. Quote, what's the purpose here? Because if we have a strategy to win, and I think the Ukrainians have shown the will to win, how do we get them across the finish line sooner rather than later so the American people aren't still feeling the pain of conflict? Well, I'm going to stop right here for a second. I think we should have nothing to do with this war. Stop giving them money, stop giving them weapons, and let them deal with it on their own. The corrupt country of Ukraine, they did this stuff. But I will put some of the blame on NATO and putting arms in countries like that where they have no business. We had to deal with Russia, and NATO and Ukraine went against that treaty. So that's why we're in the conflict that we're in now. And again, I think they did this by design. They knew they kept pushing Russia to do something like this, and now they got what they want, so they can do this money laundering scheme. But he goes on to say, "quote We're up against $100 billion of support to Ukraine over the course of the last 10 months." Coates said, "quote Now maybe I would spend more money if it means we're gonna defeat Putin, but I don't hear that from the president. So I'm wondering why, in these difficult times, we're spending all this taxpayer money again." I don't think we should have anything to do with this. It's $100 billion taxpayer dollars going to a country that's not even really one of our allies. I think it was 2014 or 2015, it was articles written about them being one of the most corrupt governments in the world, and we're giving them $100 billion. This makes no sense unless you want them to have this money to launder. That's why you see all these people have their hands up in Ukraine, and that's why they fought Trump against finding out about the corruption that's going on over there. If you follow the money, it'll tell you everything. But let me know what you think. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, subscribe, and check out democrepublics.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace. Oh,